Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show Run It Back, the show where we try to get things right the second time. In today's episode, we're going to be going over an Alchemy draft. We did an Alchemy draft here in Best of One with the new Alchemy cards. As we dive into pack one, pick one, it's tough not to just take the Alchemy card, especially when it's a mythic. We'll go over what it does in a second, but taking a look at things, we do have a Lightning Helix, which kind of goes over very well, but I don't really like forcing into two colors right away unless it's an absolute bomb, and Lightning Helix is good, but definitely not a bomb there. Alchus Proft classifies as a bomb and is really good in its own right, but I think we obviously want to end up playing with the new cards, right? So we end up taking this Tajik. Notably, we also have a Market Watch Phantom, a Hazda Vigilante, a Felonious Rage, the Lightning Helix. These are all cards that we're willing to play on the wheel. If for some reason nobody ever wanted to be in blue-white, we absolutely would play this as well, but there's no way that it's ever coming back to us. So on to the card itself, Tajik Legion's Valor, Indestructible and Haste, 4 mana, 1/1, and as this sort of sits on the battlefield, every combat you end up putting a counter on it, then you get an additional card equal to the number of 1/1 counters on it with this mana value. It has only 5 cards in the spellbook, so essentially every turn you get a 1-drop, then a 2-drop, a 3-drop, a 4-drop, and a 5-drop, all soldiers, some of them with haste, and then some with battalion. Just generally card advantage, and it's great. Indestructible haste looks good. As we move on to pack 1, pick 2, there's a little bit of a bug here with 17 lands. As you can see, we had a number of cards to choose from. However, Steam Core Scholar is the one that we chose for. Unfortunately, there weren't really any red or white cards in this pack, if I remember correctly, and Steam Core Scholar seemed to be particularly good if we're going to end up in either a blue-white shell or a red-blue shell, able to splash the Tajik. In pack 1, pick 3, nothing really that exciting in red. We have this Suspicious Detonation. Normally, we could have also gone white with the Makeshift Phantom, but seeing as we have a really good red-blue card here in Gleaming Geardrake, I was thinking maybe we can move towards the red-blue shell with a splash of white for Tajik. Jaded Analyst would be a great pick up on the wheel here, as that would end up playing particularly well with Steam Core Scholar, as well as clue tokens that we'd find in red-blue. So we picked up the Gleaming Geardrake. Happy to have that here. Pack 1, pick 4, this is where things also got a little wonky. We could have taken this Karlov Watchdog, which would play really well with this sort of battalion feel, the Tajik, playing particularly well. But this is a 4-drop, this is a 4-drop, and if we're in red-white or red-blue, I think I want this Red Herring pretty much no matter what, so we picked it up here. Pack 1, pick 5, we continue not to really see anything all that exciting. I've been pretty impressed with Defender at Large, so I didn't really mind this one as well. Grabbing it as a disguise in either blue-red or white-red feels good, so it just seems that we're moving into red pretty aggressively, and we'll see if we're playing blue or white accordingly. Pack 1, pick 6. This is another choice that we had to make. We could have taken the Chases on, but I really like Projector Inspector. We had already seen a Jaded Analyst, and it plays particularly well with this Steam Core Scholar, and the fact that we play the Jaded Analysts on 2 or 3, we can get some late, and then we've got 2, maybe even more options that will end up triggering those Jaded Analysts. The other thing is these red cards, really not there. We could take the Seasoned Consultant, which looks particularly good as well, but then I feel like we're probably moving away from 2 really good blue cards and only moving into this one Tajik, which we have. So we picked up the Projector Inspector here. Pack 1, pick 7, we ended up taking a late Dogwalker. Even if we're not in white, this still plays really, really well as a morph that we can disguise for red-red. So picking up a Dogwalker, happy to see it. We could have taken the Mistway Spy and really leaned into the Gleaming Geardrake sort of thing, but I like Dogwalker here, I think it's good. Pack 1, pick 8. Not a lot in the pack for us. I frankly don't really remember too many things, but obviously there wasn't really anything in red or blue, so we picked up this Museum Nightwatch as like probably the only playable card. Pack 1, pick 9, on the wheel. We didn't see the Lightning Helix, which kind of makes sense. We didn't see the Prof, which makes sense. The Market Watch Phantom, we could have hoped for, but that also makes sense. Unfortunately, we did not see this unauthorized exit come back, so we ended up taking the Suspicious Detonation. Played really well with things like the Red Herring and the Gleaming Geardrake. But in general, it's a reasonable removal spell in many cases. It's actually not bad in the blue-red deck. Pack 1, pick 10, we saw this Dramatic Accusation wheel, which I thought was particularly good, so happy to see this one here. Pack 1, pick 11, we did see the Jaded Analyst wheel. So happy to see that. That's kind of one of the reasons why we picked up this Projector Inspector, and the Steam Core Scholar worked out pretty well with that as well. Pack 1, pick 12. Not happy with the Mass Maker. Really don't like the Investigator. So we took a Knife. We did not end up playing this, but, you know, in the blue-red deck, if we played, like, lots of Case of the Filched Falcons and those sorts of things, Knife is certainly a playable card, just not great. Did pick up a late Hotshot Investigators and then also a late Felonious Rage. Pack 2, pick 1. There wasn't a lot here for us. Notably, again, still really no fixing. So we ended up taking a Buzz Crusher because, you know, it's an artifact. It's a big flying trample creature. It played well. It was fine. I'm a little lower on this than what originally was. Usually 4/4 flying trample for 4 is pretty good. Here it just, like, I don't know. It's just a dude, and it doesn't happen to work out as well as you were originally hoping. Pack 2, pick 2, we were looking at a couple of options. I don't think Curious Inquiry is something I really want too high, and Demand Answers, Chases On. These are things that we can pick up later. Nothing else from the pack really is that exciting, maybe with the exception of Connecting the Dots, but I want to see if maybe I could wheel something like this. Plus, there was an Alchemy card here. We wanted to play it, we wanted to pick it, and just so we did. It did not play particularly well. I originally looked at this as something we might be able to kill off creatures with, but as you read closely, it says it deals X damage to target opponent, where the X is the number of non-creature spells. So this definitely goes for a deck. It didn't really turn out to be this one, so probably wouldn't play this one unless you specifically have a bunch of non-creature spells. Pack 2, pick 3. I did look at this Case of the Market melee where it deals 1 damage and you want a whole bunch of creatures that have damage on them because damage isn't removed during cleanup steps. If it's solved, it's really good. I don't think that this is an easy one to trigger, so I skipped on it. We could have taken this Harry Dronesmith. Definitely, you know, if we wanted to end up getting some satchels later or something similar. We ended up going with a Dog Walker just because it's a generally good card, and we were still maybe under the hopes that we might be able to splash white at some point. Pack 2, pick 4, we ended up drafting a Frantic Scapegoat. We did not see this card at all throughout the entire draft, which unfortunately, as you can see here, we went 2-3 due to some mana issues and some bombs that our opponents played. But not a whole lot in the pack here. Maybe we take a Demand Answers. I've seen some people playing Agency Outfitter a little bit better just because 5/5 is really good if you have both a Magnifying Glass and a Thinking Cap. So we could have gone down something like this, but 6 mana is a lot. I don't really think that's kind of where we wanted to be. So we took the Frantic Scapegoat, plays particularly well with things like Red Herring and Jaded Analyst. Unfortunately, we just never saw it. Pack 2, pick 5. This is where we sort of gave up on white so far because we still hadn't seen any fixing. We could have taken something like an Unauthorized Exit, but I definitely wanted this Fuss Bother. You know, having a non-white Anthem effect is put a +1/+1 counter on all your attacking creatures. That's particularly good. Creating 3 Thopters, that's particularly good. So I'm really happy to see this Fuss Bother, really happy to have it. Moving into Pack 2, pick 6, I considered a couple different cards here. We have the Hustle Bustle, which could have been like another Anthem, but considering we just got the Fuss, I wasn't too upset with that. We have a third Dog Walker, and I thought that was going to be particularly good right after just picking up the Fuss Bother. So flip over a Dog Walker or 2, have a couple other creatures, and you could just kind of go to town with this Fuss Bother. Jaded Analyst, I was hoping we might be able to get up as the very last card in the pack, so that was something I had considered. And then we have this Ominous Lockbox, which is a 2-mana clue. Maybe lets you cast a spell that your opponent casts. You know, if you pick 4 and they cast a 4-drop, you also get said 4-drop. I didn't think that was going to be particularly good for limited, so I did not pick it and thought that Dog Walker might be a little bit better. Pack 2, pick 7, we did end up seeing a Case of the Filched Falcon, which I thought was really, really good and strong. Unfortunately, that meant that we had to pass up on this Escape Tunnel, so, you know, unless something in Pack 3 shows up, this Tajik really has kind of come out of the deck. So we picked up the Case of the Filched Falcon. This turned out great. One of our wins came from going Falcon into Gear Drake into, you know, solve the case, and on turn 3 swinging for 6, and it just all worked out particularly well. Pack 2, pick 8. I wasn't really playing behind the mask. There was maybe an outside chance we were still in white if we get fixing in Pack 3, so we picked up another Museum Night Watch. Pack 2, pick 9. Really happy to see this Crime Stopper sprite. It plays really well with the Projector Inspector. It also ends up, you know, consuming evidence, so that way we can tap something down and keep it tapped. Happy to see that one. Pack 2, pick 10. When the Connecting the Dots wheeled, I still wasn't that interested in it, and we had moved into red-blue, and so I thought that Demand Answers was going to play a little bit better than the Connecting the Dots. It did. It was fine. I don't know if, you know, if Connecting the Dots was really going to help us out anyway, but either way, this was sort of inconsequential, I think. Pack 2, pick 11. We got a Reasonable Doubt. This is about when I want to draft this card. Pack 2, pick 12. We saw a second demand answers, which means we probably could have taken the connecting the dots because we did not play a second demand answers. Pack 2, pick 13. We saw an unauthorized exit and a chases on. These are two cards I really want to pick up in something like this, and so I didn't mind having these both here. We ended up going with the unauthorized exit because I wanted the first one of these over the first one of those. Unfortunately, we never saw another one of the chases on, so maybe we should have gotten that one first. Pack 2, pick 14. We ended up getting this one here. Pack 3, pick 1. We saw a rare that really wasn't for us. We also saw another rare that really wasn't for us. Burden Proof hasn't really gone well. And then Crime Novelist being one of the other uncommons. I thought we might be able to wheel this. Nobody really wants this outside of Blue-Red, and I don't think anybody else is in Blue-Red, so I figured we'd pick this one up. We decided to go with another Offender at Large because I wasn't playing this card, and I just figured we needed some extra beef over the top, thinking we might not be able to wheel it. Pack 3, pick 2. Again, nothing that's really that exciting for us. We do have a push-pull, but we're not casting the push half of it because we're not in white or black, so this would essentially just be pull. I thought we might be able to wheel the deduce, even if that's something that we want, so we went the second Projector Inspector just to really get us on the Jaded Analyst train, figuring we might be able to pick up another Analyst or two. Pack 3, pick 3. This was really unfortunate. We saw an Analyst. We saw a Gleaming Geardrake. We even have this Alchemy card, which incorporates, essentially meaning we get to add in an extra red into the cost of something. And then whenever you cast a multicolored spell, this thing gets bigger. I think this card is good. I think it's probably fine. However, we don't have that many instant or sorceries, right? Like, we've got lots of creatures. We've got maybe Felonious Rage. You know, we've got lots of things, maybe this unauthorized exit, even things like Dramatic Accusation, which is a non-creature spell. This one doesn't tussle with. So, you know, we only have like 3 or 4 non-creature spells, or excuse me, instants and sorceries. So I thought we would pass on this one. I picked the Gleaming Geardrake just because they play so well in multiples, hoping we might wheel the Analyst or even the Projector Inspector if we could really get there. Unfortunately, it's also meant we have to pass the Reckless Detective, which I really wanted. Pack 3, pick 4. I wasn't really happy with anything in here. We already had 2 of these. We already had one of those. This Curious Inquiry probably wasn't it. So I figured we might take a look at this Mapping the Maze as an instant to be able to pull back something else and then cast it as a incorporate to draw a card. You know, something like Suspicious Detonation or maybe the Felonious Rage might play really well as a cantrip. Unfortunately, we did not end up playing this card. Pack 3, pick 5. I saw this Innocent Bystander. We also saw the Escape Tunnel or even the Gravestone Strider, but I thought that this kill spell in double red was going to end up playing particularly well, and it did. You know, we know this card. We love this card. I think it's a good one, but it just wasn't really the oomph that we needed. Pack 3, pick 6. Picked an Orangutan. Nothing else here is really that exciting. Pack 3, pick 7. Another unauthorized exit. We've seen about 10 of these things, so we figured we'd pick it up here. Not playing anything else. Pack 3, pick 8. I'm not playing any of these cards. We already have 2 of those. You know, I'm not playing these over Offender at Large, so we picked up the Meddling Youths just to see if maybe some of the fixing came back around and we can, you know, Tajik and Meddling Youths our way into the deck. Pack 3, pick 9, we did see the Crime Novelist wheel, and we did end up playing it, and it was good. We had enough artifacts to sacrifice where this was consistently a 3-5 reach, a 3-5, and played really well. Pack 3, pick 10, I thought Deduce was going to be an ability in order to get us some extra clue tokens for Geardrake and Crime Novelist. It also was, you know, it was fine. Something we could also discard to Steam Core Scholar and not really get sad about. Pack 3, pick 11, we picked up another Jaded Analyst, which I thought was particularly good for us. Pack 3, pick 12, I think our 4th or 3rd unauthorized exit. And then, of course, some other cards to round out the pack. Taking a look here at the deck, we do have some power here in things like 2 Gleaming Geardrakes, Case the Filch Falcon, Cranko, and then, you know, some Crime Novelists to sort of go over the top. Overall, just really unimpressed with the deck. We did end up going 2 and 3. I think some mana issues definitely didn't help. I know we're playing 2 colors. We've got 17 lands, but unfortunately we missed our 3rd land drop on 2 different best of 1 games, and that sort of sometimes spells your doom, even though we had plenty of things to do on 2. If you want to have your deck reviewed on Run It Back, feel free to send me an email at runitbackmtg@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can send me a message on Discord with the 17 lands data. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.